We've got the Week 3 Unrivaled ratings from last Friday night, and my God, they are disastrous.
Can you believe what's happening to the Unrivaled League right now? Their viewership is crashing faster than a brick thrown off a skyscraper. And Sue Bird's out here trying to tell us everything's fine. Are you kidding me? You're probably thinking, wait, didn't they just launch with all this hype about Angel Reese? Well, buckle up, because we're about to dive into the numbers that are making league executives lose sleep at night. And trust me, it's way worse than you think.
I want you to keep in mind something. In comparison to the debut week, Angel Reese's debut game with the Rose BC Basketball Club has lost over half of its viewership.
All right, let's talk numbers, because you might be thinking, how bad could these ratings really be? Well, get ready, because these numbers are about to blow your mind. Remember that opening night of Unrivaled League, they pulled in 313,000 viewers. Not too shabby. Right, everyone's excited, the hype is real. And it looks like they might be onto something, but hold on to your seats, because this roller coaster is about to take a nosedive.
Night 1 of Unrivaled, 313K, 311, that's a nice, not bad. That's acceptable, right? Then we get to night 2, 113,000. That's not acceptable. Whoa, then we get to night 3. 187,000. Oh, 120,000. Yikes. That's
Week 2 hits and boom, viewership drops faster than a buzzer beater. At the finals, we're talking 113,000 viewers. That's right, they lost 2/3 of their audience in just 7 days. Can you believe it? It's like everyone collectively decided now we're good and changed the channel.
I mean, 300,000 is not good at all. Not at all. And to me, this is probably going to be their best ratings ever. After what I saw, yeah, niche market. I say less than 300,000 from this point on, a niche market.
Now you're probably wondering, okay, maybe it's just a fluke, they'll bounce back. Right, wrong, week 3 rolls around. And it gets even worse, we're talking 98,000 viewers on True TV. To put that in perspective, that's less than some high school football games. Get high school football, let that sink in for a second.
Unrivaled basketball. Now 190 is better than 140, but both are better than the week prior, and both are better than the opening night. We are headed on a downward spiral. Fast. This is falling fast, folks. This is going fast.
But here's where it gets really interesting. Remember Angel Reese, the one player. They built this whole league around the supposed face of the franchise. Guess how many viewers her team got? Just take a wild guess. 76,000, that's it.
We get to Saturday, we start getting there. Saturday coverage, 98,000 on True TV alone. On True TV alone, but they must not have counted TNT. It wasn't on TNT. It was on True TV only. Okay? It was on True TV only. So no TNT numbers, no HBO Max numbers. Lunar Owls on True TV, 118,000. Missed Rose on True TV, 76,000.
Now, you might be thinking, well, maybe that's normal for a new league, but let's compare these numbers to something else. The average NHL game gets about 400,000 viewers. Unrivaled can't even hit half that on their day. And we're talking about hockey here, not exactly the most watched sport in America.
Modest is a word I would use to describe ratings in the NHL. Nationally televised games in the NHL, they normally average 300,000-400,000 viewers. That's modest. Unrivaled cannot come close to reaching half that number. These ratings aren't modest, they're abysmal, they're atrocious. If I had to guess, Unrivaled is the least watched programming on TNT.
So there you have it. In just 3 weeks, Unrivaled went from celebrating 300,000 viewers to barely cracking 100,000. Talk about a ratings free fall. It's like watching a basketball team go from leading by 20 to losing by 30 in the fourth quarter. You just can't look away from the train wreck.
Look, when people see the ratings on something like this when it's new, and when they see the ratings suck, they're like, why do I want to tune in and get invested in something that's going to get canceled? ? That is a valid question.
But wait, there's more. Remember how Sue Bird said we shouldn't overreact, that we should look at the bigger picture. Well, I don't know what picture she's looking at, but it sure ain't pretty when you lose 200,000 viewers in 3 weeks. That's not a blip, that's not a hiccup, that's a full-on call-app.
Look, we're fixing to have another women's basketball league that is being subsidized by somebody else in order to stay in business, because it's certainly not going to be from advertising revenue. And now you got Sue Bird out there trying to tell people to ignore the ratings.
And let's talk about Angel Reese for a second. They hyped her up as the next big thing to play her, who was going to change the game, but change it to what lower ratings, because that's all we're seeing so far. It's like they thought slapping her name on the posters would be enough to draw in the crowd. Spoiler alert, it wasn't.
Unrivaled has not been getting the views that they've been living up to. Angel is not a big enough star to carry this league into pretty much turning into a household name. Now they're doing these one-on-ones. I believe those is like this week or something like that from what I heard. I don't know how that's going to look on the viewership, one-on-one basketball. I don't think people is going to be very entertained in watching that. But I do know a lot of people from overseas is getting a kick out of watching it. But it's just crazy. You know, to me, as being a basketball fan, I don't really like it, and I know, like, I'm not alone.
Meanwhile, over in the WNBA, Caitlyn Clark is breaking records left and right. She's selling out arenas, smashing TV ratings, and actually living up to the hype it's night. And Dave Folks Clark is showing what real star power looks like, while Reese and Unrivaled are struggling to keep the lights on.
I said this league without Caitlyn Clark is DOA. It's dead on arrival. I've said the Unrivaled has unraveled. Tell me when I'm telling lies at this point.
Now, you might be wondering, what about Angel Reese? Wasn't she supposed to be the next big thing? Well, let's rewind a bit and take a look at what's really going on with the player Unrivaled League. Bet their whole future on, remember last year, when Reese was talking all that trash, saying she's the reason people watch women's basketball. Yeah, about that.
Unrivaled, Laces versus Lunar Owls. I mean, who could blame me at this point? On TNT. This is not... For the people that want to try to defend this crap, this is not True TV. This is TNT. 190,000 viewers. And what's even more hilarious, Unrivaled, Phantom versus Rose. Again, Angel Reese is in that game. She plays in that game. She gets thrown out of that game. A .14.
Unrivaled bought into the hype big time. They made Reese the face of the league, plastered her everywhere like she was the second coming of basketball greatness. But here's the thing, when it comes to Angel Reese, there's a big difference between social media buzz and actual on-court performance, and boy, is that difference showing up in a big.
It's even more crazy is this is the game where Angel Reese had the meltdown. I did that video the other day. Of course, she got ejected and then went bonkers on social media after she got ejected.
Let's look at her stats in Unrivaled so far. Spoiler alert, they're not pretty. We're talking shooting nights. As bad as 2 for 11. That's not just missing a few shots. That's building a house with all those bricks. And the fans are noticing every time Reese steps on the court, it's like she has the opposite of the Midas touch. Instead of turning everything to gold, she's turning viewers away in drove.
And I'm pointing this out because Angel Reese went on this massive rant last year with Kennedy Carter, I believe, standing next to her about how people are tuning in for her. It wasn't just one other person, but all these people are moving the needle and people want to watch her, except you're not her. You're not her. And her is not actually in this league at all, and by God, the ratings reflect it.
You got to wonder what Unrivaled was thinking, banking their whole league on a player who's more famous for trash talk than actual skills. It's like they confused Twitter followers with basketball talent, and now they're paying the price big time. But here's where it gets really interesting despite the numbers tanking faster than a lead balloon. Reese is still out here claiming she's changing the game.
I think so many people are watching women's basketball right now. Yeah. It all started from the national championship game, and I've been dealing with this for 2 years now. And understanding, like, yeah, negative things have probably been said about me, but honestly, I'll take that because look where women's basketball is. People are talking about women's basketball, but you never would think that we'd be talking about women's basketball. People are pulling up to games. We got celebrities coming to games, sold out arenas, like, just because of one single game. And just looking at that, like, I'll take that role. I'll take the bad guy role, and I'll continue to take that on and be that for my teammates. And if I want to be that, and I know I'll go down in history, I'll look back in 20 years and be like, Yeah, the reason why we watching women's basketball is not just because of one person. It's because of me too, and I want y'all to realize that. Like, it's not just because of one person. A lot of us have done so much for this game, and Kennedy has been here before, obviously, but there are so many great players in this league that have deserved this for a really, really long time, and luckily, it's coming now.
The experts are starting to weigh in, and it's not looking good for Reese or Unrivaled. They're saying that focusing on Reese as a league star has backfired spectacularly. Her media persona just isn't translating into on-court success or viewer engagement. Instead of drawing people, and she's pushing them away.
We're talking about television viewership. Nobody's watching. They've lost over half of their viewers since the debut. 2 weeks. I mean, literally, they're on the third week. So by the third week, they went from 311,000 viewers for a Rose Basketball Club Angel Reese game down to 140,000. Also on a Friday night. 3 weeks later.
The disconnect between Reese's social media presence and her actual viewer numbers is stark. She might be racking up likes and followers online, but when it comes to people actually tuning in to watch her play crickets, it's a harsh lesson in the difference between Instagram fame and real-world impact.
They wonder why no one is supporting their secondary dump. They wonder why no one is watching pretend basketball. Maybe if they focused on the actual basketball instead of focusing on their weird utopian fantasies, maybe their dump would be upgraded to a polished turd.
Critics are having a field day with this one. They're saying Unrivaled strategy of promoting Reese as a superstar has resulted in a major backlash. Fans aren't buying what they're selling. They're tuning out rather than tuning in, looking for genuine talent instead of manufactured drama.
And it looks to me like not only can Angel Reese not draw a crowd, but people are specifically tuning out of her games at this point.
It's like Unrivaled forgot the most important part of basketball. You know, actually being good at basketball. They went all in on Reese's trash, talking social media savvy persona, thinking that would be enough to draw in the crowds. But as it turns out, fans want substance over style. They want to see amazing plays, not just hear about them on Twitter.
Look, TNT Sports, they're funding this show. They've got a big ownership stake in it. All right? So if it comes back for season 2, it's not going to be because it drew actual viewers.
All right, let's switch gears for a second, because while Unrivaled is tanking, there's another story that's impossible to ignore. Caitlyn Clark. You might be thinking, okay, but is she really that big of a deal? Well, buckle up, because what Clark's doing in the WNBA is nothing short of mind-blowing.
Look, they would have had a hard enough time if Caitlyn Clark would have played. I mean, I'm not too sure it can make it if Caitlyn Clark was playing, but the ratings would damn sure be better. How much better? My guess is they'd be at least drawing 500,000 viewers.
Don't want to not utilize this opportunity to thank Caitlyn for what she's done for women's basketball. Like, her shoulders were heavy and getting a lot of eyeballs on our game. And sometimes, as a young person, it could be a bit much. But I thought she handled it with class, and I hope that every step of the ladder of success that she goes, she's able to elevate whatever room she's in.
So here's the deal. Clark just entered the WNBA, and guess what? She's not just playing basketball. She's writing the entire playbook. We're talking about a rookie who's turning the Indiana Fever into the hottest ticket in town. Can you believe it? The Fever used to struggle to fill seats, and now they can't print tickets fast enough. It's like Clark waved a magic wand, and suddenly everyone remembered how much they loved basketball.
Caitlyn Clark is selling out everywhere she goes. Last season, the WNBA had to move road games out of high school gyms into actual NBA arenas just to accommodate the demand. The main reason Unrivaled is failing, they have not given you a reason to watch.
But it's not just about butts and seats. Clark's games are pulling in massive TV ratings. We're talking numbers that would make even the biggest sports events jealous. It's like she's got some kind of gravitational pull that's dragging viewers to their screens every time she steps on the court.
By the way, Indiana's a small market. It ain't New York City, ain't LA, ain't Chicago. It's not the Skies, not the Liberties, not the Sparks. We're talking about the Indiana Fever, led by a girl that was playing at Iowa. It's producing the most watched WNBA games in over 2 decades.
Now here's where it gets really interesting. Indiana is a small market, right? It's not New York or LA, but Clark's making it feel like the basketball capital of the world. How crazy is that? It's like she's taken the small market team and turned it into a basketball mecca overnight.
30 years of evidence that proves Americans are not interested in women's basketball. They're interested in Caitlyn Clark, which is why TNT offered her $1 million to join this polished turd. But in terms of the on-court product itself, people are not interested.